Hey, what's going on, y'all? Okay, so welcome to Big Bear Fishing. Today we're going to be going over a plugin called Dehancer, and this is a company that approached me. They watched my videos on YouTube and they wanted honest feedback, which I really appreciate, because some companies that approach me they're just looking for a good review and they don't really care. Some of the companies don't even care if I test the product. Those ones I turn down. I do not test those products. I tell them I don't feel comfortable testing it. It's not my wheelhouse. I'm not going to do it, because I prefer to work with companies that, fishing gear or something that I actually use. So I do color grade on my videos, so this is perfect. This company wanted an honest review. I appreciate that, so that's what I'm giving today. I'll start by saying that most of y'all will not need this product. How do I want to word that? Most of y'all will not need this product because your regular editing software should do even a basic version of what this program does. But this plugin basically takes your color grading to a whole new level, and it has features on it, which we're going to go over. But it has features on it that are very useful to someone who really gets into color grading and wants that cinematic look, or they want a certain look. This allows them to achieve that certain look. And I use DaVinci Resolve. It's awesome. DaVinci Resolve is amazing. I got this plugin. I signed up for the DaVinci Resolve one. They gave me the program for a month to try out, and it's an amazing product. But we'll kind of go into why it's amazing. I picked out 3 different features on it that I think make it amazing, but I mean, it does so much more than just these 3 things. But we'll get into what Dehancer is right now. Okay, so what is Dehancer? Dehancer is a film-like color grading plugin. What that means is when you're watching a movie and it has that very distinct look to it. We're gonna be referencing No Country for Old Men quite a bit in this. If you haven't seen that movie, watch it. Unless suspenseful movies absolutely kill you, then do not watch it, because it is one of the most suspenseful movies ever. But that's what we're going to be touching back on a lot, because that's one of my favorite movies. Like, the way that they color graded it, it's one of my favorites. I know that sounds borderline like nerdy, but if it is, so be it. But I really enjoy the color grading on that film. The way that they color graded that film, I think that's one of the things, mixed with like the quiet parts, just the way that they did the lighting and the film grain and everything on that movie, which we're going to get into here, why Dehancer works so well, because you can achieve that pretty easily using Dehancer, which is crazy, because if you think back, back to like the 80s, most everything, because you didn't have a lot of this like color grading stuff. It was kind of, actually it wasn't really until the 90s when the digital color grading and everything really like came about. Like what's a good example? Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That movie was, I know that was digitally color graded, digitally enhanced, color graded, whatever. But I think in the 80s, if you watch a lot of those movies, they look very, very distinct. And I still, like, to this day, when I see that kind of that unique color grading where they did everything with cameras, like they did camera work and they did a little bit of like lighting. It was the way that they would do lighting. They would pick a very specific scene to do the lighting, that just, it triggers a lot of nostalgia in me, and I enjoy that, because every time, you know, like every time a certain 80s movie comes on, I have to watch it. Just have to watch it. Doesn't matter what's going on, I have to watch it. But we'll kind of get into the first thing right here, why I think Dehancer is a very good program for those of y'all that actually are making cinematic videos. You want that cinematic look. But we'll get into it right here. Alright, so diving into Dehancer, the very first thing, which I think is like probably the biggest selling point of Dehancer, is the halation. So the halation, that is it. You ever watch a movie and, you know, when you see the lights, I'm going back to No Country for Old Men. I told you we keep going back to that. So what they did in that movie was, you have that like that red orange like halo effect kind of around the lights. So you don't have a ton of lighting in that film, but what they did with the minimal lighting is they made it almost like glow, and that kind of halo effect and that red orange glow that they put on it, that's halation. And we'll watch a little clip right now, and that this will show you what I'm talking about with the halation. Alright, so in DaVinci, it's important to note that there are glow effects in DaVinci. So, I mean, you can achieve this, but not to the degree that you can with Dehancer. Dehancer definitely, like, it kind of like more fine tunes that halation effect. And I think for me, being someone who really enjoys cinematography and photography, obviously because I run a YouTube channel, but for me it's really that like cinematic look to it, and the ability to get there so easily using this plugin. That was what I found really cool about it. But that, I think, so with, you know, when you're using something like the halation effect, you're always going to use bloom with it. So both features are on there. So halation we already went over. Think that like you have, you know, okay, so a dream sequence, right? Somebody's waking up, they don't know they're in a dream. Everything's happy. They see that person that they're in love with, that maybe like died in the past, and they're seeing them, and you have the, you know, the kind of like blurriness like when you're waking up, and then they'll have like the sun, and then you can see that like red orange like halation around the sun, and then maybe you'll see like a figure, like a silhouette of a figure, kind of blurry, and then like it becomes clearer, but it's a dream sequence, so we're still like keeping that dreamy, like misty look to it, right? So that kind of like misty look is bloom. So with Dehancer you can actually do, so you go in, one of the things would be, I would probably do the halation. What I did when I was playing around with it, I shot kind of like, I don't know if you guys can see this behind me, like right through the trees right there. The sun's kind of peeking through the trees. So I would, you know, kind of have that in the, maybe like they're laying here on the ground and they're waking up and they're looking over that way, and you can see that that sun peeking down through the trees, you would use the halation and you would get that red orange glow around it. And then what you would do is go and mess with your bloom settings and give it that bloom. And then all these, like the trees, like all around here, all this light that is behind me in the upper portion, that would be where the bloom would come in, because you would mess around with that. It would give it that hazy look, and that way that conveys a feeling that, you know, this person's dreaming. I mean, I know y'all have seen a ton of movies like that, but you can achieve that with Dehancer, and you can achieve it pretty easily, which I think is really cool. But we'll move on to the third. This is the third and final reason that I was excited to use the program. Like I said, there are a bunch of other things that it does for color grading, but the other thing is the film grain, which is a huge deal. The third thing that I want to touch on, and this is going to be the final thing, because I could go on and on about Dehancer, but really cool product. The other thing would be the film grain. The film grain, so basically if you wanted to get that, you could take a movie, film it. I could take this right now. I could go in and mess around with the different effects and play with the film grain, and I could make it look like I shot this in the 80s, which is just crazy. They have presets in there too, so you could actually set it to like Fujifilm, Sony. You can set it to like different cameras, like it was shot with those cameras, which I think is so cool. And I know you can do that. I know you can do stuff like that in DaVinci too, but Dehancer is, like I said, it's just pinpointing those things. So let's talk about film grain for a little bit. Okay, so film grain, basically it can evoke a feeling like nostalgia, anxiousness. It can invoke a feeling because you're basically using the way that it looks to make somebody feel something. So going back to No Country for Old Men, the way that movie, the way that they did like the lighting and the film grain and everything, it's just a very uneasy feeling. Like you have an uneasy feeling the whole time. They use the you'll have like a lamp, right? There was one scene where Josh Brolin, he had a lamp. I remember, like, I think he was in a hotel room or something, but he had a lamp right here, and that's the only light in the room. So if that is the only light in the room, that if you see the person, then you might get like a little bit of light hitting them. They made sure to basically like illuminate Josh Brolin's face, like the side of his face. So, you know, that lighting mixed with the way that they did the film grain on that is just, it's absolutely crazy. But the whole movie, like when you're watching it, which I know like the Coen brothers go way out of their way, like they really enjoy, they're passionate about making movies, but I mean, they would go out and like choose scenes and like stay there, and it was just really cool. But getting off topic, the film grain can make you feel something when you're watching a movie without even knowing it. Like take Jaws for instance. I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to watch a really crisp Jaws. Wouldn't want to watch it. When I watched Jaws, I just watched it because it was the 50th anniversary. When I watch Jaws, I want to see that, like that grainy film, and it just makes me like feel a certain way, you know, kind of nostalgic. But that basically that's what film grain does, and you can do that very easily. We'll look at it right here. We'll look at a clip of it. but you can, so that clip right there, you know, it makes it look a certain way, and that is, to me, very important. When I come out and I film, you know, I'm filming fishing videos, outdoor videos. I'm very lucky that I have a really good camera. I use a GoPro Hero 12. I use my iPhone, which takes really good video and photo. I have my Nikon, my Nikon Z50. I have that. I'm very fortunate to have all that stuff. I have a drone that you guys haven't even seen yet, but we're gonna use that at some point. But yeah, it's just really the what you can do with Dehancer. So you have DaVinci, which is an awesome product. Then you have Dehancer, which makes it an even better product. So it's kind of it's a no-brainer for somebody who really wants to color grade their film and make it look the way that they want it to look. But that's it. I will catch y'all next time. Check out Dehancer. I'm going to put a link below, and my code is also on there, and my code will get you 10% off if you want to try it out. And just use BigBearFishing, one word, and go check it out. And I will catch y'all next time. Take care.